Meet Codename Goose, your on-machine open-source AI agent, built to automate your tasks. Codename Goose is an intelligent and autonomous agent capable of handling complex tasks thanks to its core features. Connect with apps and tools you already use with extensions. Built on the Model Context Protocol, you can connect to extensions like GitHub, integrate JetBrains IDEs, access Google Drive, or build your own custom integrations for Goose. For a curated list of extensions, visit our docs. With a wide range of compatible large language model providers, you can choose and integrate your preferred model. You can also run Goose as a desktop app or through the command line interface using the same configurations across both. You can think of Goose as an assistant, ready to take your instructions and do the work for you. Able to handle a wide range of tasks across various engineering domains. Here are examples of tasks Goose has helped people with already. Goose has helped dive into a new project in an unfamiliar coding language, conduct code migrations such as Ember to React or Ruby to Kotlin, increase code coverage, and even generate unit tests for a feature, and much more. To get started using Goose right away, check out our Quick Start and be the first to know about upcoming features by joining our community.
I'll follow through. Here's what Goose can do for you. Build the bug, extend your flow, edit code and run the show. Search fast with RGY, globs to find the files just right. Propose a diff, await your cue. No change lands till you approve. Here's what Goose can do for you. CLI server, desktop too. Rust to TS, I'll see it through. Here's what Goose can do for you. Add routes, action on the line. Generate open FPE fine. Wire the UI, test it clean. Type checks pass the build, stay green. Schedule jobs, recipes run. Pause, resume, or run now, done. Here's what Goose can do for you. Automate the boring new. Tasks on time, reliable crew. Here's what Goose can do for you. Enable tools when you need more.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Vibe Code with me. My name is Ebony Lewis. I'm a developer advocate here at Block, and I'm excited to dive in today. You're going to see me kind of looking over. I have my monitor set up a little different today. But anyways, I'm super excited. This is pretty much a part 2 to what I guess we can call an MCP App series. We're doing a little mini series. So on our last stream, we built, we didn't build. On our last stream, we took our existing Cloudinary MCP-UI server and we turned it into an MCP app. And on this stream, we're going to take that MCP app and we're going to plug it into ChatGPT apps. Now, I have gone through it trying to get this integration to work. But luckily for you guys, ChatGPT now supports MCP apps. So you don't need to do any of the extra things that I did. And while I'm talking, I'm actually going to show the link that I need everybody to go to. And hold on one second. Let me find it. Okay, right here. Okay, yeah. So while I'm talking, take the time to navigate to GitHub, do a git clone, get this project locally on your computer so that we can go through the files together and see what changes I had to make in order to make this happen. And I also would love for you guys to, host it with me. So like go through all the steps with me. So anyways, now that ChatGPT supports MCP apps, you don't have to do all the crazy stuff that I was doing. I was using a ChatGPT adapter. And it's also a sentiment to how fast things are moving in the AI space, right? Like this was literally a day ago. Yeah, a day ago, I was doing all this extra work just to get it to work. And now we don't have to do all that extra. But I do implore you that after the stream, go through my commits. And I believe I named the commit like ChatGPT supports MCP app. So all the commits prior to that, take a look and see the adapter I had to make and all the little things I had to configure just to get this to work. But the thing with MCP apps and the beauty from what we learned in our last stream is the point is that they should be a build once and use everywhere kind of solution. And that's where we're going. The more people that, the more platforms that have the support for it, the better, right? Okay, so I hope everybody, I don't know, it's like These banners are on a timer. Somehow I must have done this. Okay, I finally turned the timer off. Okay, I'm going to leave that up for a little bit as I pull up some slides. Okay, so this isn't long. It's just going to be a quick little recap of what we did on our last stream. And again, if you didn't see that stream, I highly recommend you check that stream out because we're going to be working off of that same MCP server in this stream. Okay, so plug into ChatGPT. So a little refresh. You see my cute little drink. Anyways, okay, so with MCP-UI, the way you would send your UI over is inline, right? But as we know, with MCP apps, we're sending our UI as a resource. What is that? As a resource. So we had to add the resource capabilities, right? We had to add resource list method, resource read. And also with MCP apps, the way it talks is through JSON RPC, and that's the standard. That's the way of standardizing this protocol. So that's a little recap. And now today we are taking the Cloudinary MCP app. We're plugging it into ChatGPT apps. Okay, so there's a little checklist for us today to keep us on track. I hope everybody has caught up and they have the project locally. So we need to create a deterministic UI resource. Structured content, it's pretty much the same as the first one, but you'll see when we go through the code. We need to host it on something. Today in this stream, we're going to be using Railway, but you can use Vercel. You can use whatever you'd like. And then we're going to add it into ChatGPT. All right, so let me pull up the code. How does that look for everybody? Make it a little bigger. It's crazy because I'm sure it looks great for you guys, but it looks crazy for me. Okay, I think that looks okay. All right, 1 second. Okay, so our original MCP app, we had it working over studios, like locally it was working. However, with to move our MCP app into ChatGPT apps, we need to make sure that it has an HTTP MCP endpoint. So that means that we need to host our MCP server. It can no longer be local, right? So what I did was, this file over here is the exact same file. Well, a little bit of changes, but it's the same file from, I believe we had it called MCP-app.ts. So this has all of our Cloudinary server code in it. And then what I did was I created this index.http.ts file, and this is how we're going to host this server code, right? And then I also wanted to make sure that we still had the studio transport as well. So I also created this short file as well. So it'll still work locally. It can still be hosted. But obviously in Goose or whatever AI agent you can use HTTP, right? It doesn't matter. But I just wanted to separate the two, separate them out and still have that. You don't have to do all that if you don't want to. Okay, let's go through some of the major differences that I had to make. And this is where it gets a little hard to make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay, so right here, I'm doing an upload. I have this variable, right? And what I'm doing here is what we did originally with our MCP app. We had, so every time we made a request or an upload, it generated a random UI page, right? Depending on per upload. But right now what we want to do is we want to register one stable UI, right? So this right here, this is the route, right? This is the route name for the iframe, and the iframe is where our UI is living, right? But over here, I'm just going to do a search so it's easy. Meta. Okay, cool. All right, 1 second. Okay. So right now we have a stable UI. That URI does not change at all, right? Because before, like I said, we had it dynamically changing. So now we have that stable resource URI. Now over here, we're returning, which should look similar to what we had prior. What we're sending is that URI here. The next thing I want to call out is, let me scroll. I believe it's down at the bottom. Everything else is pretty much the same. Another change that I made, I think it's right here. 1 second. Okay, here. So actually, I'm gonna come back to this. I'd rather you guys see what problem I ran into and why I ended up coming back to this here. So we're not even gonna focus on that. All right, so we have our MCP app. We just changed the name of the file. I changed the way we were creating our URI so that it would be the exact same static URI instead of being a dynamic one. And now let's get into hosting this. So let's go over to Railway. And in order to host on Railway, there's different ways you can do it, right? So create an account. If you're using for something else, can't walk you through those steps, but create your account. You're going to go down to new project. And the easiest way to do this is to actually just push your code. So if you push your code, you can just click on one of your repos here. That'll be the fastest way to set this up through GitHub. There are other ways, but again, that's the fastest. So that's how you would do it. You click on that, it would load it, but I already have, so I don't want to do this again. How do I get out of it? Hello. Let's see. Oh, okay, here we go. Dang, I don't even remember the name of which one it is. We're gonna go around a little bit. Okay, it's not that one. Okay, here it is. Okay, cool. So once you click on the GitHub repo that you want to add, click on the GitHub repo that you want to add, it's going to start loading it, but it's also going to then ask you for variables. So with Cloudinary, the same variables that we would add to Goose when we were connecting it locally is the same variables that we need to provide to Railway. So we need our Cloudinary API key, our API secret, and our cloud name. So you would add them here on this screen. You'd make sure that you're in your app. You would go to variables, and this is where you would add them in. And then it should be deployed. You can look into it. You want to just make sure that you get this little check message here that says that it's running on port 8080. I'm trying to think if I ran into any issues here that I want to call out for you guys. I don't believe so. I believe this was a super straightforward process. You just, again, want to, I did run into a little thing. So I ended up, for some reason, I would go to settings here. And when I would get here, it would say, just like how it says now, disconnect. But this was red, and it would say that it couldn't find my repo. Couldn't figure it out. It was my first time really playing around with Railway. So I had to go to account settings and scroll all the way down. And then I had to add the Railway app to GitHub. So you'll see something here that like is prompting you to do that. Once you do that, it'll be able to find it. So that's a step that I didn't do, and I could not figure out why the connection wasn't happening. But all right, let's go back to our projects. Of course, I still don't know how to work this thing, to be honest. As you can see, okay, there we go. I think it's this one. Okay, cool. All right, so we're online, we're live, everything looks good. We're running on port 8080. We're good to go. All right, so now that we have it hosted, the next thing we want to do is we want to plug it into ChatGPT, but there were some testers that I did just to make sure that it was working. And I do want to share those with you guys. Hopefully I have them still open. It's not looking like it though. Hold on, let me zoom out a little bit. Let's see if I have these curl commands that I want to share. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, no. All right, 1 second. I should have wrote this down. Let me find the curl commands, because I do think it's important to test quite a bit before you even get to GitHub. Obviously, you guys are going to be using the same code that I'm using, so you know that it's working. But on your own, say you have a different MCP app that you want to plug into ChatGPT apps, I like taking the time to perform these tests And I did them with a few curl commands just to make sure that we were getting back what we expected. Let's see. In here, I thought I had everything ready for you guys. Blah, 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 blah. And this is me just going through my Goose conversation because, you know, Goose holds it down. Okay. I think it's going to take me too long to find it, and I don't want to hold us up with you guys just waiting for me to find the curl commands. So I'll add the curl commands to the GitHub repo. I'll push like a testing file, or I'll add a section in the README on testing, and I'll add them there so that you guys are able to go over there real quick and then test it out. And you can also use that same method for whenever you decide to use your own MCP apps to plug them into ChatGPT. Okay, so we have our code. We have our, let's move this down. Go away. Okay. All right. So yeah, so this is how we're going to be able to host it. We have our entry point here. We have all of our methods, an MCP session ID. We have all the goods for everything we need. We have now hooked it up and pushed the code to GitHub. We have hosted it on Railway. It is online. It is connected. It's active. Now we need to get ChatGPT into the fold. So let me pull that screen over. Let's see. Okay, we move her over here. Now let me find you guys again. Okay, there you guys are. All right, let me zoom in. A little too much, Okay. All right, so right now I'm in developer mode. I'm going to show you how to get into this mode because starting out, obviously, most likely won't be in that mode. So let's start over. You'll go to the bottom. You're going to click on your image icon, your name, whatever it is. You're going to go to settings. From settings, you're going to go to apps. From apps, you're going to click this advanced settings here. And this is how you'll toggle on and off developer mode. In order to add an MCP app, you have to be in developer mode. So we're going to toggle on developer mode. Then you would click create app. And this is where you would put your app name in, right? So I'm going to call mine Cloudinary MCP app. You could add a description if you'd want. And the MCP server URL. I'm going to show you guys how to get this. Let's go back to Railway. So in Railway, how did I get there? Okay. So you're going to make sure that you're in your app. You're going to go to settings. Inside of settings, you're going to scroll down. Oh, right here. Okay. It's so zoomed in. Hold on. Let me just go out one. Okay, here we go. All right. So you're going to go into settings under networking. Right now, I have mine, but you would have to click, I think it's just generate. I think it just says generate domain, I think is what it says. Generate domain. It would ask you, okay, what port is it on? We're on port 8080. This is within my code. So you type in 8080 and then you click like enter, I believe. Let's see if we edit it, if we'll get it the way it is. Okay, yeah, this is how it would look. It's already going to give you a name. You can edit the name if you want. I just stuck with the name that it gave me. And then I put in 8080, save, whatever. All right, cool. So you're going to copy this right here, and you're going to go back to ChatGPT. And this is how it's going to access your server with this URL. However, you got to make sure that you actually have the HTTPS in the front. So yeah, make sure you add that, like this right here. Make sure you have that in the front, or it's going to say that it's an incorrect URL. All right, ignore that little notification. And right now, for the next step is authentication. With this application, there's no auth. So you make sure you click no auth. You get a little, little warning, blah, blah. Okay, we love security, but not now. Then you click create. Simple, right? You can add a cool little icon if you want. I'm not going to do that because I already have mine. So once you click create, you'll then have your app here, and you'll also see your app down here. So click into your app. This is where you could disconnect it. And this right here, guys, oh my God, like I was stressed. Okay, so I was making changes in the code, and I'll show you the problem, and I couldn't figure out, I'm like, yo, why is nothing populating? Why? I feel like it's not getting my changes. Why? There's a refresh button. There is a refresh button. So let me tell you again how to get there, because don't be me. So we're in settings, we're in apps. You're going to click on your app that you've added. You're going to scroll down, and there's this beautiful refresh button, which we're going to use a lot. But okay, so let's exit out of this. I'm going to show you guys what I was getting at first that I was trying to resolve. Let's see. And I did it about 1,000,000 times, as you could see. Let's see. No, that's not the one. I want you guys to see this one. I think it is. How does it look for you guys? I think it looks okay. Oh, now I can't load the app anyway because I disconnected it. But okay, that's fine. I'll just show you the one that's still loaded. Okay. So here, I'm going to zoom out. Sorry, hopefully it's not that hard to see. But okay, this is what I was getting back. So, I mean, looks right. Like I have my image, I have my public ID, like I have all of the information here. I have my buttons and all that, but it wasn't but where's my UI, right? Like where's my CSS? Where's my style and my design that I put into my UI? Like it's not showing up at all. And that I could not figure out for the longest. But don't worry, you guys have me. So we're going to go back over to the code. In our server, it was this here. And as you could see, I had me and Goose. I'm like, Goose, please. Goose, put a little check and required in caps. But originally, I wasn't adding this here. So like I was initializing my UI and everything, but I wasn't actually sending back this notification. So what was happening was, so I'm explaining two different issues, to be honest. But originally what was happening was I was getting this, wait. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. This is the one I need to talk to you guys about. So I'm getting because I think the CSS was just a typo issue when I wasn't getting like the actual styling. But then I got to the problem where it was showing me like, okay, my styling is here. Cool. But like, where is all of the data? Where's all the information? Where's my image? And I wasn't getting my image, but it looked like it had the information, right? Like it has my public ID here. If I click on the call tool and I go on the details thing here and I click into it, it has all the information. It has a public ID, it has the format, it has the resource type, like it has it all. But for some reason, it wasn't actually generating any of the data into the UI. And the culprit was here. I didn't have this. So what it was doing is it was pulling the resource, it got the resource, but once it had the resource, it loaded the resource, and then it would pull in like the data from uploading the image. But it never got, like, it was never getting notified, like, hey, update the UI as well, like update the UI with the information. So it was just storing it all here, as we saw in details. It had the response, it had the information, but it was never actually like updating the UI with that information because it didn't have this beautiful line right here. So once we had that, let's just test it out and I'll just show you guys. I'm just going to copy this. Let's open up a new chat. And I'm just going to say, upload this to Cloudinary, and here's the image. It should do its thing. It's looking for available tools. It has looked, and it asked this here, which I do appreciate that. So it's letting me know that this is going to upload an image from this URL, the kind of data that's going to be shared. We love that. And I'm like, yep, I'm here for it. Let's do it. So now it's uploading my file, and it pulls in the data. So I have my image. I have all of my information. I have my public ID, the format, image type, size, etc. We got all the goods. We have our transformation examples, everything. And that's literally what our MCP app looks like in Goose. Exactly the same. And that's how it should be. I should be able to take my app from one host to another with minimal changes. And that's what we've done today. We really didn't have to do too much. Again, all we did was we created a stable URI stable URI instead of changing it dynamically with every upload. What else did we do? We made sure that we notified that the UI was notified with the new information. Let's go back to that. Not that one. Where's she at? One more. There she is. Okay. We made sure that it was updated with the proper information. We made sure to create this server file so that we can actually host our MCP app so that ChatGPT app has access to it. That was pretty straightforward. You could just go into your AI agent or whatever and just say, hey, I want to host this local MCP app. Can you give me a server file? And that's what you're going to get. And then we went to Railway. We created, we first pushed our code to GitHub. That's the easiest way to do it. Pushed our code to GitHub. We created a new project. Within our project, we added our environment variables. Do not forget these. These are important. Your application is going to crash. Won't be able to host on Railway without it. But Railway does prompt you for them, which I love that. So it's going to prompt you to put these in. We put in our variables. We go to settings. We scroll all the way down to networking. We generate our URL. That is the URL that ChatGPT is going to use to access our MCP app. Then we go into ChatGPT. We click on our name. We go to settings, apps, and advanced settings, because at first you won't be in developer mode. Toggle on developer mode so that you can have access to creating an app. You create your app, your name, add a description if you want. The URL, remember, you need to add HTTPS in front of it, so it's a proper URL. You would do no off. I accept. I'm taking these risks. And that's it. And it really is that easy. And that is the whole point. That is the power behind MCP apps. This easy portability, no matter the hosts. So again, I implore you guys to go through the code, read through the code, give the code to your AI agent if you want, and be like, hey, walk me through this. What are the highlights on what I need to know? Here are some resources that I leave any resources open. I deferred to the new little guide that they put out, letting us know that MCP apps is supported in ChatGPT. So I read through this. I gave this to my AI agent as well when making these updates. Something else I want to call out is right now for our image, we're only able to upload an image if it has a URL, right? Like locally, because this is no longer a local application, it doesn't have access to my file, to my file system. So say I want to add a photo this way, whatever, let's add anything. Say I want to add a photo this way and I say upload this to Cloudinary. It's not going to be able to. So let's see what it says to me. Have I lied? Upload. I'm pretty sure this cannot do it. It can't do it. Okay, I was gonna say there's no way. It shouldn't have access. Okay, yeah. So the reason why it can't do it is because, again, this is no longer a local application, so it doesn't have access to my saved files, and that's something that you can add later on if you want to add that functionality. The way you would add it is, so there's a few ways you could do it, right? But with ChatGPT apps, if you want it specifically to work in ChatGPT apps, you can use, where is it? Open window. Like there's this, okay, right here. You can use this. So window.openai.upload file, this, and I could be wrong, but I read so many things, so I'm trying to remember, but I believe that this is just specific to, the ChatGPT extensions. Yeah. So this is just specific to ChatGPT. So within ChatGPT, if I want this to work quickly, I can just use this here, which I love that. However, if I want this upload button to work regardless of what host I'm in, I'm going to have to do a little bit more finessing and write like more code to support that. But this is pretty cool. So if there's things that you want your MCP app to do that MCP apps just doesn't have a standard for, in ChatGPT, you can use them here. So you can add like an instant checkout, file upload, host, modals, however you say it, which I thought was really, really cool. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. And it's crazy for me to say that because like I said, prior to ChatGPT natively supporting MCP apps, this was not an easy task. I had to do the adapter and all the things. But again, that's the excitement with MCP apps. You don't have to do that anymore. That's why we want this to be a standard, to make it a smooth process. I shouldn't have to rewrite my code in order for my app to work in other hosts. So yeah, guys. Oh, I left this up the whole time. That's so funny. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. Feel free to hop into Discord and ask me any questions that you have. I'm here to help. If anything didn't make sense, you want me to slow down, explain a line in the code more to you, let me know. I did make sure to add a lot of comments within the code so that you could go through it and follow and understand what's happening. And again, this is a continuation off of our last stream on taking our MCP-UI server and turning it into an MCP app. So a lot of the code is similar to that. Just the things that I highlighted are the changes that we made. But again, super, super straightforward. So thank you for spending these 30 minutes with me. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.